Okay, we're back with more Ace Attorney Miles Edgeworth. Hope everybody's doing well. We'll just hop right into it, but please do me a huge favor and like this video, share this with your friends. All right, March 14th, 4:18 a.m. Prosecutor's Building, 12th floor hallway. What is with this? What is with that prosecutor? I can't believe how rude he was. It was unbelievable. Please maintain your professionalism, detective. I'm going to find some real solid evidence proving Maggie's innocence. You'll see, sir. But we've been kicked out of the crime scene, sir. True. So then what now? Looks like my life's falling into yet another gigantic ditch. Do not despair, Miss Bird. We can overcome this as well. There are many other places and things we should be looking into anyway. Really, sir? For example, this hallway. The linchpin of his argument against Miss Bird is related to the master key. In that case, this hallway is the perfect place to look for more information. Regarding the mystery surrounding my door. What is a basketball doing here? That's Mr. Portman's prized possession, sir. I heard he also plays soccer, dodgeball, and even tennis. And not a single one of those sports is suitable to be played in a hallway. Where's a basketball hoop doing here? Hey, didn't this used to be outside next to the building a long time ago? So when and why was it moved indoors? I don't remember exactly, but I saw one of the officers drag it up here recently. Drag it? Heard that it wouldn't fit in the elevator, so the poor guy had to bring it in himself. All the way up the 12th floor? Is everything alright? Yes, sir. If you must know, I weighed myself this morning and I'm finally at 154 pounds. It's not what he asked. Congratulations, but I was asking about this hallway and this room. Oh, everything's okay, sir. A word of advice. Stay focused or you may start to lose even more weight. It looks like you're in quite the pinch, Mr. Edgeworth. To be sure, a murder within the walls of the prosecutor's office is no trifling matter. We must find, apprehend, and punish the killer accordingly post-haste. Sounds like a messy case you've got on your hands. If you ever feel lost or need some advice, my door is always open. How gracious. I will keep your offer in mind. Who is this guy again? Who is this guy again? This office. 1203. Hey Maggie, whose room is this again? It's Mr. Portman, sir. So he's my new neighbor, I see. I suppose he moved in while I was away overseas. Won't rest until I have inspected every suspicious looking nook and cranny. Look here. It's... isn't that the missing 0 series file, sir? No doubt about it. The bloody letters mark it clear as day. There seems to be a few pages missing. Our thief took only what was necessary and left the rest behind. What are those 0 files about, sir? I guess they got something worth stealing in them, huh? Not particularly. It's just a collection of court case files. However, the cases within these files are not mine. Huh? They belong to the High Prosecutor that used to occupy my current office. I have my reasons, but let's just say I was charged with keeping them as they were. And that means the thief must have also wanted to file for a specific reason, right? It would seem so. Only the pages related to the case from 10 years ago are missing. I wonder why anyone would care about such an old case. I was wondering if I may speak with you for a bit concerning this case. I've always been a big fan of the courtroom, but this is like a dream where I'm being cross-examined by the Miles Edgeworth. Can't let this chance pass me by. I must remember to ask her about the master key. I should jog her memory by showing my notes to her with X. So when did you discover that the master key was missing? By the time I realized it, I think it was around 1 a.m., sir. And I noticed it was back at around 2:30 a.m. It was just sitting there on the ledge where the security room's reception window is. But I'm sure that between those two times, it was not just gone, but stolen, sir. Why is such an important key stored in such an insecure place? It's not like that, sir. We always keep the key further inside the room, away from the window. Always, you say? Except for this time, correct? Hey, Val. Sorry, I didn't notice you popping in. Well, I admit that was a bit careless, but I had my reasons. I left it out because I was sort of using it at the time. It was after I had used it that I left it sitting out on the ledge. To use the master key. Wait a minute. It was found 2:05. She got her key back at 2:30. Went missing at 1. Have you ever met the victim before? Well, I've seen him a couple of times before when I had to go to Mr. Portman's office. Mr. Faith was always playing basketball with Mr. Portsman, sir. That sounds like fun. Just once I have loved to play with them. It sounds fun, but the only person ever taking a shot was Mr. Portsman. He wanted to say Portman like Natalie Portman. All Mr. Faith ever did was pass him the ball, sir. On second thought, I don't think I'd have fit in at all that well with him. What did you mean by you used the master key? Oh, I had to use it to open the door for this prosecutor who had forgotten his key. I mean, it's my job as a security guard, right? Ah! What is it? That's right, I just remembered. The prosecutor who forgot his key. It was Mr. Portsman, sir. What? Please tell me more, Miss Bird, quickly. It was around 12 a.m. Mr. Portsman had forgotten his office key, so he came down to security, sir. How is it that you forget something like this, especially after this dude just accused you of potentially a murder? And that's when you loaned the master key to him? No way! It's against regulations to loan the master key out to anyone. I walked with Mr. Portman to his office and opened the door for him personally, sir. I see. And then, what happened after that? Well, he called for me to come close up to his office as he was leaving to go home. That was around 1:30 a.m., I think. So, in summary, for the sake of one forgetful prosecutor, you used the master key twice that night. Twice tonight. Talk about suspicious. I doubt you can say that you've never left your keys at home, detective. I think this calls for a thorough examination of Mr. Portman's door. Ask her. It's Maggie Bird, correct? I take it that you are an acquaintance of the detective? She was under my supervision back when she was still on the force, sir. One day she got caught up in a murder and things started to go downhill, so she quit. I owe a lot to Detective Gumshoe for introducing me to my current employer. Or so I thought until a few hours ago, right before I was about to clock out for the night. You got caught up in this whirlwind of a case, correct? Don't worry, my whole life has been nothing but a whirlwind of bad luck and failures. Since I was 6 months old when I fell from the 9th floor of my apartment building, I've been hit by all sorts of vehicles, gotten sick from all sorts of foods, failed at almost every test I've ever taken, experienced almost every kind of disaster, and now I even managed to be named a criminal just when I became a security guard. That's a lot to go through in one lifetime. I know, and just when I thought I had finally found my happiness, I wind up getting you and Detective Gumshoe involved in my bad luck. You don't need to worry about me, Miss Bird, nor do you need to worry about yourself. I will solve this case and prove your innocence. All I ask in return is for your cooperation. Yes, sir, Mr. Edgeworth. You can count on me. I'll do all I can to help. I won't rest until I've inspected every suspicious-looking nook and cranny. Door's locked tight. I bet the old credit card trick wouldn't work here, huh, Mr. Edgeworth? This is the office of a high prosecutor detective. These doors will be pretty ineffective if the average cab burglar could get through them. So I guess only a great cat burglar could get in. That must be who our culprit is. Might I advise you to return that conclusion to whatever pawn shop you bought it from. Room 1203. I take it that this is Mr. Portsman's office? Yeah, you can't mistake it because of that basketball hoop, sir. Oh, that reminds me. Mr. Portsman had actually wanted room 1202. Mr. Portsman had actually wanted room 1202 really badly. But since you were already occupying it, Mr. Edgeworth, I can't read. But since you were already occupying it, Mr. Edgeworth, we put him next door, sir. So why was Mr. Portsman so particular about getting room 1202? I'm not sure, but I bet it's because of something like this, like his birthday is December 2nd. Yep, that's gotta be it. Can't think of another reason why. I can think of at least 3. Why am I even wasting time thinking about this? A minimalist yet classy door made of top quality wood. It's kind of majestic too. Fits in really well with the ambiance of this prosecutor's offices. Even Mr. Portsman seemed dignified just because he works behind one of these. Nonsense. A man doesn't become more or less dignified because of where he works. Well, he still seems more dignified than Mr. Payne. Mr. Payne? I suppose custodial work can also be dignified. It's Mr. Portsman's personal basketball hoop. I can't believe he put something like this in the hallway of a prosecutor's office. But you know, it's actually pretty useful, sir. I haven't gotten lost trying to get to your office since it's been here. How long have I had the same office, and yet you still managed to get lost? Turnabout 2. These 4 numbers on a number plate alone proclaim this to be my office. Oops, hey, these number plates slide right out, sir. You have to be able to take the plate off when a room becomes vacant, you know. Although, the idea that it can be so easily removed is kind of... I don't see any signs of forced entry. And according to the guard, no signs that the lock was picked either, sir. Meaning that the door really was open with a key. Did you happen to ask if any prints were lifted from the doorknob? Apparently the doorknob's clean as a whistle. Wipe, they think. Whoever this thief is, they did a good job not leaving any clues behind. Let's see. What else do I need? Miss Bird, I'm afraid there's a flaw in your story. What? No, wait, pal. I mean, sir. You said that you locked up Mr. Portsman's office at around 1:30 a.m., correct? However, the master key had already been stolen at that time. Wow! Nothing gets by you, Mr. Edgeworth. You solved that contradiction like a pro. I had totally forgotten all about that, but thanks to you, I remember now. You're right. It was around that very time that I realized the master key was missing. And? Well, I'm a security guard, sir. I couldn't just admit to losing the master key, could I? Given the circumstances, yeah, admit it. So I pretended to lock up his room, sir. You pretended? Yeah, I used my house key and made it look like I was locking up, sir. So in actuality, you never did relock the door then. Well, I thought that maybe I could go lock it after I found the key. Come to think of it, I guess the door still hasn't been locked properly. What the? I had it right the first time. Don't know why they didn't count it. If what Miss Bird has said is true, then why is the door locked tight? Huh? You know, you're right. Miss Bird, are you sure you didn't relock this door? I'm certain of it, sir. And I don't think Mr. Portsman noticed it himself that I hadn't. Which means, what, sir? It either means that he actually does have the key to his office, or that the door Miss Bird opened wasn't this one at all, but a completely different one. She opened a different door? How can you prove that? There's an easy way to find out. All we need to do is... prints on the doorknob will tell us everything. Hey, you pal. Do us a favor and see what you can lift from this, okay? So, what did you find out? There's no need for such belligerent nostril flaring, detective. Sir, I have found only Mr. Portsmouth's and Mr. Faith's prints on this doorknob. But only 2 people's prints were found on this, huh? That's pretty decisive. Huh? I'm lost, sir. Thinking logically, a certain other person's prints should be on this doorknob as well. Now then, whose prints should be on this doorknob?
Take that!
Don't you find it odd that the prints of the person who unlocked this door are absent? You mean, yes, the door that Miss Bird opened could not have been this one, but a different one. What do we have here? What is this? Looks like a scrap of paper. I'll get it, sir. Let's see. Oh, there's something written on it. Looks like a note from the victim. I brought the 3 pieces of evidence by, just like we talked about on the phone, but it looks like you're out. Guess I'll catch up to you later, buddy. Yeah, and it's for Mr. Portsmouth. Did you happen to ask if any prints were lifted from this doorknob? Wait a minute, hold up. What's this? What are you looking at, sir? Oh, hey, how about a game? That's okay, detective. I just found the position of this hoop to be a little off. Hey, you're right, sir. I guess it shifted when someone made a seriously sweet slam dunk. The positioning of the hoop is definitely unnatural. You better take note of this. Poking around in this hallway has actually paid off quite handsomely. Huh? How so, sir? In a variety of different ways. I think it's time we had a little chat with the real culprit of this case. You know who the killer is? How, Mr. Edgeworth? As long as my logic is sound, then yes. The mastermind behind this murder is none other than Mr. Portsman. What? Mr. Portsman? I knew it. That's exactly what my logic senses were telling me too. I suspected it was him from the instant he accused Maggie of being the killer, sir. That is anything but logical. Ladies and gentlemen, prepare yourselves. Come what may, it's time to knock on truth's door. Mr. Portsman, I finished processing the bloody letter, sir. Alright, let me take a gander at it. Pass it here. Nice animation. Okay, looking good. You there, take good care of this. Well, if it isn't Detective Gumshoe. End of the line for you, Portsman. We've got you now. Call off your dog, Mr. Edgeworth. Is this some kind of joke? It's no joke. We know, Mr. Jacques Portsman, that you are the guilty party in this case. You must be pretty upset getting chased out of your own room. I'd be mad too. So I guess you can stay if you promise to stay out of our way. You intend to hide your crime under the guise of a prosecutor doing his job. I can see right through the unsightly paper-thin mask you wear upon your cowl. Who would have ever thought it would come to this? Actually, come to think of it, your mentor was Manfred von Karma, right? The legendary prosecutor who never lost a single case for 40 long years. But there was always this incessant chatter about forced evidence with that guy. Really teaches me that I've got to stay out on the lookout for false accusations, you know? Are you done trying to play mind games with me? Because they won't work. The only thing you should be using that mouth of yours for is explaining yourself. Although that, too, will only dig your hole deeper. Either way, your game is up. But aren't we full of ourselves, even though you have yet to prove anything? I have no idea what sort of harebrained idea you have in mind, but there's a mountain of evidence that points away from me being the culprit. Besides, how may I ask, do you propose I unlock your door and got in here? Look, I feel bad doing this to you, but I've got work to do, so we're done here. Sorry, but we are not finished yet. Well, you're stubborn. I suppose you're basing your accusations on something. You base your accusations on something. I'll show you what I'm basing my accusation on with evidence. Hold it! My accusation is a harebrained idea, is it? You tell me. I'd say it is, after all. Hold it! Oh, and what, pray tell, kind of evidence are we talking about here? Jim was my partner, so you can't say I had a motive for killing him. And that's it. That's not even an anthill, let alone a mountain. But it's more than enough, wouldn't you agree? Might I recommend that you review what the word evidence means? It doesn't change the fact that the evidence doesn't point to me as the killer. Hold it! Unfortunately, I believe I've already shown how earlier. Your speculations mean nothing, as I still insist that I cannot I could not gain access to your room. What should I do now? Should I raise an objection? You claim to have no way to open my door. However, you claim to have no way to open my door. However, is that really the honest truth? Alright, I'll humor you. Go ahead and shoot. Very well then, I propose that you use this to open my door.
Take that!
I believe you were able to open my door with the master key, no less.
Objection!
Wait. Hold on for a second. I never laid a finger on that key, as you already know. Precisely, you were able to open my door without lifting a single finger. Well, maybe you did, but only to direct. That's right, use your finger to direct this person to open the... yeah. Okay, I get what he's driving at. He, convinced Maggie that Miles's door was his door, and since he was gone, but she should have known. Well, I'm about to say that she should know whose door it was, but then again, you know, nobody's gonna remember every door who belongs to whom. So, yeah. So he just convinced her that his door was Miles's door, or Miles' door was his door.
Take that!
You had asked Miss Bird to open your own office door for you, yes? Yeah, I kind of forgot my key at home. Happens a bit too often for my taste, you know? But the room you had Miss Bird open at the time was not your own, was it? What? You have quite the imagination. But why don't we ask the girl herself whose door she opened, shall we? I'm certain that it was Mr. Portsman's door, sir. I checked the number plate to make sure I was opening the right door. He could have switched the signs. See, Miss Bird backs up my story. Yeah, what if you had misled her to fool her into thinking what you wanted? Ha! How do you suppose I did that? By switching the number plates on our doors, for example. That's right. They do slide off pretty easily. Furthermore, you then use one other thing to give a very strong impression that the door she was opening was yours and not in fact mine. What was it that Mr. Portman used to make Miss Bird think was mine?
Take that!
Ah.
Take that!
What? The basketball hoop, sir? It's quite the peculiar fixture in any hallway, let alone a hallway in this building. Which is why it left an unusually strong impression on you. It's an object perfectly suited to sit just outside the office of a peculiar prosecutor. Yeah. That's very true, sir, because there was a basketball hoop sitting there. I thought the door I was opening had to be Mr. Portsman. There are signs that the hoop has been moved. To sit in front of my office, to be sure. I see. So that's how you throw suspicion on people. Thanks for the tip. I think your conjecture is a little off the racetrack. Now you're just spouting nonsense. I had the girl open my office door. After that, I was in my room the entire time. You don't have a single reason to suspect me. He intends to claim his innocence to the end, does he? I'm as pure and innocent as my jacket. And Miss Bird is as dirty and guilty as the jacket she wears. My jacket's not dirty, I have you know. I just washed it yesterday. Please calm down, for I intend to show who's truly covered in slime here.
Hold it!
Nonsense, you say? Yes, because I'm telling the truth here.
Hold it!
Using the master key, of course. Sure, you have a problem with that? That is what the master key is for, right? Perhaps we should place it in an elaborate labyrinth of some sort for people like you.
Hold it!
And what were you doing in your office? I was doing my usual training regiment. Training regiment? Were you going through our law books for start to finish? Mainly batting practice and some weights. Oh, and I jog when I get the chance. Wow, you must be the buffest prosecutor we have. With the weakest legal muscles, it would seem. I was doing my usual workout, so.
Hold it!
I think I've gotten you quite a few reasons, actually.
Objection!
I've given you quite a few reasons. But none of those would stand up in their own.
Objection!
Then what about all the evidence?
Objection!
It's all circumstantial. No judge will convict on such flimsy evidence. He seems to be trembling a little. One more little push. All I have to do is find a flaw in his testimony.
Objection!
That was a lie. What are you talking about? How was that a lie? This is a note that the victim left for you, Mr. Portsman. A note? It was left under your door, or did you not notice? And right here it says, but you're out. You were not in your room when the victim came to call on you. So then, where were you and what were you doing? Shall I explain it in full detail for you? You were busy snooping around in my room, the very room you had Miss Bird open for you.
Objection!
That's nonsense. You have no evidence that I made the girl open your door for me. Oh, but I do. I have very decisive evidence.
Take that!
I had your door dusted for prints. My door? Wait, what for? Come on, I bet you didn't find anything. You sure are good at wasting time. You're right, I didn't find anything, and definitely not Miss Bird's fingerprints. Her prints? What do they have to do with anything? Let's put it this way. If she really was the one who opened your door, then her prints should naturally be on the doorknob she touched. Further, all the prints on my office door's knob have been wiped clean off. I can only assume it's because Miss Bird's fingerprints were on it. Don't you think it's time you gave up your charade? We know you stole into my office with the intent on stealing something from me. And Detective Faith found you out. Possibly because he heard sounds coming from a room whose occupant was on leave. Mr. Portsman, you killed Mr. Faith to silence him. And I had the misfortune to return when I did. You had to threaten me as you escaped. As I said when you had the gun to my back, no one gets away with committing murder in my office. And just what's so funny, pal? Well, that look of stiff seriousness on the face of this office's finest prosecutor, as he makes a huge mistake in accusing me is simply too much to bear. There's just nothing else like it in the world. What? Mr. Edgeworth just explained it all, and he even backed it up. You're the murderer. So stop trying to be slippery and just admit to the crime already. And as I said earlier, it's all so circumstantial, so full of conjecture. You say you checked my doorknob for prints. Well, I can readily confess that I have wiped that doorknob down as well. I'm a little bit obsessive compulsive, you see. I didn't want to touch a doorknob that you had touched, which is why I wiped the knob down as soon as I could. Which is why I wiped the knob down as soon as I could after you opened the door. After that, it makes perfect sense that only Jim's and my own prints would be on there. You made that up just now, didn't you? Furthermore, as for the note Jim left for me, do you know exactly when that was? Well, we know he could have left it there before I arrived at the office. Like early evening, for example. Are you saying you failed to notice a note in your doorway? Hey, even geniuses fails at times. I was probably too preoccupied by work-related matters, although that's no excuse. Now that's just a flat-out lie. There's no way you didn't notice a note that size. But you can't prove that, can you? Say something, Mr. Edgeworth. Back me up here, sir. Horseman makes a good point. I can't prove that he didn't simply overlook it. Besides, I have an airtight alibi. Airtight, you say? I only just realized I had one as we were talking. I guess it would have been better for all of us if I had told you sooner. If memory serves, you came back to this office at around 2 a.m., correct? And it was then that you had noticed an unfortunate confrontation at gunpoint with the culprit. But at exactly that time, I was down in criminal affairs. Ask around. I'm sure the other detectives will corroborate my story. It's the perfect alibi. Do you really think it's that perfect? Like I said, I don't care. Ask around all you like. You'll see for yourself. Detective Gumshoe? Sir, yes, sir. I'll go check out his alibi, sir. Be right back. Mr. Ezra, sir, I think we're in trouble. It's just like Mr. Portsman said. The guys down in criminal affairs said they saw him around 2 a.m. You see? All of the evidence points to him being the culprit. So there must be a contradictory point in his alibi somewhere.
Hold it!
You are correct. It was around 2 a.m. Are you sure? It's really important to me that you spot on with that time. I remember checking my watch then, and make no mistake, it was 2. Ooh, giving testimony like a pro. Okay, so you came back to your office at 2.
Hold it!
It is as you say, however. Yes, however, you are the only one who claims to have bumped into the culprit. So tell me, did you see the person's face? Was it me who you saw? It was pitch black, so I couldn't actually see.
Objection!
Oh, come now. I'm sure you saw something. Try a little harder, why don't you? I'm beginning to feel like I'm the one being interrogated here. Oh well, it doesn't matter if you remember or not. It only matters that you ran into the culprit.
Hold it!
So you paid the Criminal Affairs Department a visit. Yep, right after I left the prosecutor's building, I headed straight for the precinct.
Hold it!
Well, we did go and ask around to confirm your testimony. And it was just as I said, right? Yes, sir. A number of detectives said that they saw you at around that time. See, I have the perfect alibi. That's the ace I had up my sleeve. Impossible. He actually does have the perfect alibi. What's wrong? Why the sudden sullen look on your face? Can't you say anything back, Mr. Edgeworth? I think we've reached the end of the line and it's time to get off this crazy train. You there. Sir, please escort the young lady out, but remember, be gentle. Maggie. Detective Gumshoe. Is there nothing I can do? There must be a way to turn this situation around. If only I had a clue. Did I miss something that can help me cast doubt on his alibi? I need to calmly think this through one more time and with logic. There were 2 bullets left at the scene of the crime. One that robbed Mr. Faith of his life, and one that nearly robbed me of my jacket. However, the murder weapon only shows signs of being fired once, meaning that it is entirely possible that a second gun was used in my office tonight. But seeing how the killer had to steal Mr. Faith's gun, I doubt the killer had another gun up his sleeve. Therefore, the second gun could have been the property of an entirely different person, which can mean that there was another person who paid a visit to my office tonight. Supposing there was yet another visitor tonight, that would also resolve the issue of why my shelves were upended twice. We know that the shelves were disturbed once before and once after the murder, so it shouldn't be much of a stretch to think that it was the work of 2 different people. Once by the person who stole the victim's gun and then killed him with it, and once again after the murder by our second culprit, who was the owner of the second gun. If we suppose that the second culprit's gun was the one that was pointed at my back.
Objection!
Mr. Portsman, it seems that I need to amend my assumptions regarding this case. Great, so you finally come to your senses. Mr. Edgeworth, sir, what are you saying? This has been a big misunderstanding on my part from the start. I had assumed that the person I ran into was the killer, but that may not be the case. What do you mean? The person I ran into was just your average thief. A thief? But sir, doesn't that cause some sort of contradiction in in that facts? Not at all. It simply means that the killer was someone else. And it means that in actuality, 2 culprits stole into my office tonight. What do you mean, 2? It explains both why my shelves were disturbed twice and how there were 2 guns. Mr. Portsman tricked Miss Bird and gained entry into my office.
Objection!
Now you're just leading the argument. You still don't have any actual proof, you know. If you could please go along with my hypothetical scenario for now, Mr. Portsman. In the end, if you really are innocent, you should have nothing to worry about. Grr. Now then, return to my scenario. Mr. Portsman was out to steal something from me, which is why he checked my secret safe and ransacked my shelves. This is the first time. So then, this would be when the files were put back in the wrong order, right? Correct. And then, just when he was about to look somewhere else, who should walk in but his own partner, Mr. Faith? Why did Mr. Faith come into your room, sir? He probably had business with Mr. Portsman, which is why he was in the area. But that's when he noticed sounds coming from my office, would be my guess. Oh, because you were supposed to be away, right? And he must have thought it was odd, so he came into this office to check it out. Correct. And as a detective, that was the right thing to do. But when he came in, he found his own partner standing there. Because it was Mr. Portsman, Mr. Faith probably let his guard down. But Mr. Portsman was not so merciful as to let him leave alive. He waited for a chance and stole Mr. Faith's gun from him, and then he killed him. He silenced Mr. Faith for catching him in the act of stealing. This was the moment in which the first shot was fired, the one that landed in my files. Following that, Mr. Portsman wiped the gun down and left it behind as he made his exit. He could afford to do that because he had also left the fake dying message behind. You're such a complicated troublemaker, you know that? Well, if things were as simple as that, then all will be solved. However, there was yet another visitor to my room, and this is where it gets complicated. There was another visitor, sir? Yes, and this other person's objective was also to steal something from me. Now then, even after Mr. Portsman left, the door to my office remained unlocked. However, this new visitor had no way of knowing that, and so they stole the master key from the security guard's room, and then entered my room and searched through my shelves. This was the second time they were disturbed, and it seemed the thief found their prize. A stolen 0 file, right, sir? Correct. Only just as the thief was about to leave with the file, I appeared. The thief then threatened me with their own gun and made their escape. The second bullet was fired during the brief encounter. So the shells is getting messed up twice in the 2 bullets. It was all because 2 different people were doing those things at 2 different times. Precisely. But now do you see, Mr. Portsman? The person I met was just a thief and was not in fact Mr. Faith's killer. Your alibi for the time frame in which I ran into the other person is now irrelevant, because we now know that the murder took place during the first culprit's visit.
Objection!
Absolutely splendid. Your scenario explains everything. Of course it does. It's Mr. Esworth after all. But you know, it still doesn't change the fact that it's all circumstantial. Supposing if, and that's a big if, your theory is right. It would indeed render my alibi, which has withstood scrutiny, mind you, irrelevant. But there is still one defining point of your argument for which you have no evidence. Your supposition that I was the first visitor. Mr. Ellsworth, you can't let him get away with that, sir. But he has a point. I have absolutely no proof at this point. Don't say that, sir. I don't believe this. Don't worry, Maggie. I'll do something if I must. You know something? I find your attitude to be somewhat peculiar, Mr. Ellsworth. If the person you met really was just a plain old thief, then why is that person not your main suspect? That is, if your theory is correct. That thief you ran into should be your real suspect, wouldn't you say? You should be out there looking for that thief right now. They might still be nearby. I hate to repeat myself, but as I've already said, I was training in my room. And when Jim came to deliver some evidence to me, I was down at Criminal Affairs. So I can't be expected to know what happened around after I left. So you think we should be out there looking for the thief? Of course. Now isn't the time to be having these dead-end discussions? I don't think it is all dead-ended. I find your alibi to be fascinating. Let's continue where we left off, shall we? I know he's lying. I know he was here at the scene of the crime. I just have to find a way to prove it.
Hold it!
Actually, no, I wouldn't. Well, why not? That's elementary. The dying message, of course. Mr. Face Killer very clearly left those letters on the spines of those files. And it was after they were on there that the thief stole one of them. You mean the zero files, right? And that's how we also know the letters themselves were a setup and not from Mr. Faith. If the thief was the killer, do you think they would try to undermine themselves? Maybe the killer just didn't think of that either. Yes, that must be it. Maybe, just maybe.
Hold it!
Once escaped, I highly doubt a thief would linger nearby. Well, you never know. Maybe they didn't get that way. Maybe they didn't get what they were really after. Oh, you talk like you know quite a bit about this thief. It's nothing like that. I have no idea about anything after all.
Hold it!
But according to Mr. Faith's note, hold on, I thought we already cleared that up. Didn't we say that Jim left that note for me in the early evening? If you have a proof that he left it at a different time, say just before he was murdered. I don't have any, no. You see, so I insist again that I was in my office the entire time.
Hold it!
Why didn't you go there with Mr. Faith? Oh, that's because he said he was tired and was going to take a quick nap. You know those sofas in the hallway? He likes to sleep on those. It's one of his habits. And what of the evidence he brought? They were things related to yesterday's case. Just 2 items, a gun and a pendant. Interesting. This piece of testimony seems too crucial to let slip through the cracks.
Hold it!
A gun and a pendant. Yes, this gun, which was the murder weapon. And this pendant, which belonged to the victim. Why were you taking them to Criminal Affairs? There was something in a past case file I wanted to compare these two to. All this has nothing to do with this case right now. Anyway, I believe you'll find the long paper trail I left to be your satisfaction. This is all matching up with the Detective Gumshoe found out.
Hold it!
I can't expect you to know, can I? Nope. I guess you can't expect me to take a guess based on logical deductions. Oh, Then let's see you deduce. Jim waited for me to leave and then stole the master key. For the purpose of sneaking into your room, of course. And that's when Mr. Bird caught him red-handed and then the murder occurred. It's all exactly as I had laid out earlier. I know he's lying. I know he was here at the scene of the crime. Supposed to be 3 items, not 2.
Objection!
Only 2 pieces? I believe the proper phrase here is, you fail. Excuse me? You fail as a prosecutor, Mr. Portsman, as you intend to keep evidence hidden from me. What are you talking about? I haven't hidden anything from you. Well, here's a piece I think you should read carefully. Ah, it says that Mr. Faith was bringing 3 pieces. Yes, and this is the victim's real dying message to you, Mr. Portsman. I can't believe to get tripped up by simple arithmetic. Where is the missing piece of evidence? You have it, don't you? Only the guilty would make such a face. Detective Gumshoe. You don't have to say it, sir. I'll pat the guy down head to toe. What? Don't come any closer. I'm warning you. This is all part of the investigation, pal, so don't even think about stopping me. No! Hey, what's this? He had this on him, sir. Despite what you said, it would appear that you do have something to hide. But why would he hide something like that? There's only one reason why anyone would hide evidence of this caliber. Because it would unequivocally point to that person himself as the real killer. Let's examine this videotape in a little bit more detail. For the section of the tape that will drive the last nail into his coffin. The KG8 incident? That's a police case number, sir. Does that mean this video is evidence from that case? Interesting. However, what's recorded on this isn't what's important right now. Let's give the casing a thorough once-over. Hello! Blood. Ah, that's blood, isn't it? Yes, and I believe that this is what the good prosecutor was trying to hide from us. This blood is still fresh. You mean this might be Detective Faith's blood? No! No! You got it all wrong! No amount of denial can save you. We have but to run a blood test to find the truth. Yeah. You told us that you had received evidence from the victim earlier. Now you will tell us when and how did the victim's blood find its way onto this video. Yeah, it's totally suspicious. Was it at the moment of his death? Did Detective Faith have this videotape on his personage when you killed him? You know very well there's no way to prove that. Not even if we were to examine this tape for fingerprints. If I had to take a guess, I'd say that the only ones on here would belong to the murderers you and Mr. Faith. No, impossible. I'm... Oh, God. Mr. Portsman has been placed under arrest for the murder of Detective Buddy Faith, sir. Very good. And the results we got back from the lab techs on the tape turned out to be real solid, sir. The blood work came back and it was definitely Mr. Faith's blood on there. And as a bonus, they were also able to lift a few Mr. Faith's fingerprints as well. Thank you very much, Mr. Edgeworth. I still can't believe I got to see your cool deduction skills outside the courtroom. I'm impressed beyond words, sir. It was nothing. I'm just sorry you got caught up in the murder in my office. Please accept my apologies. Oh, it was nothing, really. Compared to what I've been through, I mean, I consider myself lucky that it was only a burglary and a murder this time, sir. If I had been a hold-up or a hostage situation, I have thrown my hands up in the air. I think I'm finally rising up from a goddess of misfortune to an unlucky person. Something tells me we should have hired a different person for security detail. You know something, sir? That Mr. Portsman really was one corrupt prosecutor. Why would you say he was corrupt? Well, I heard that there was a number of suspicious things related to his court cases. There's even rumors about how some of the evidence he uses is forged, sir. Forged evidence, huh? They say he even decided not to prosecute a few cases for some really vague reasons. Ooh, that guy was a complete disgrace to the entire profession. We never did get around to asking what his reasons was for breaking into my office. Yeah, whenever we got near that topic, he just clammed up. Although we can be pretty certain that it was to steal something. This is just between you and me, sir, but there's a rumor that some sort of huge organization is involved behind the scenes. Oh, well. With Mr. Portsman not willing to divulge anything, it certainly lends credence to that rumor. It would seem that we haven't heard the last of this. Then Mr. Portsman isn't the bad guy? I didn't say that. Rather, there are still many more mysteries for us to solve. For example, we still haven't figured out the significance to this piece of evidence.
Take that!
The person who stole this file, the other villain of the night. Yeah, I wonder who it was. And what happened to the stolen pages? I wonder, who in the world was it that held me up at gunpoint? Mr. Edgeworth, sir. Yes? I came across this while I was processing your office earlier, sir. This card. What is it, sir? Is that a bird or something on there? It's not just any bird. It's the mark of the raven, a three-legged raven. Even you should know what this is, detective. Oh, it's about that thing, isn't it? That great thief everyone's talking about. Yes, it is the mark of the great thief Yatakurasu. That's a Yu-Gi-Oh card. On a ban list, by the way. Under the mark of a legendary bird, the Yatagarasu is noble to the end and modern Robin Hood. A modern Robin Hood. Labeled mysterious and phantom-like, the Yatagarasu appears and vanishes at will. Though we don't know much about this thief's ultimate goal, we do know the targets. The Yatagarasu likes to find and make public evidence of corrupt dealings of all sorts. The theft is always performed in silence and always with perfection. Once a target is chosen, no dramatic calling card or announcement is sent forth. Instead, the chosen corporation is infiltrated without even the target noticing. Some days later, the evidence that was found is sent out to the mass media, along with a single card. Although it has been a while since the Yatagarasu's last appearance. Hey, Mr. Ezra, look, something's written on the back. What? Let me see. It's the location where the thief put the stolen files. So the person who stole the contents of the file was the Yatagarasu. Yatagarasu. Organization. Quite a few key words are popping up in this mystery. The murder in my office. The return of the great thief, Yatagarasu. Looking back, I can't say I didn't see these events coming, but they were heralded by the incidents that began to occur 2 days ago. Okay, that was episode 1. Okay. Okay, that is the end of episode 1. All right. That's it for tonight. That was fun. God, I love the Ace Attorney series. They're so much fun. If I didn't really get it, I know there was like a prequel game set in like Victorian era or something like that, of like Phoenix Wright's ancestor or something like that, that came out a couple of years back. I couldn't get into it. I really don't like prequels like that in some cases. Didn't seem to interest me. They should make a don't know why they haven't made a new Phoenix Wright type of games. They either been like a prequel thing or just some kind of collections, but never like a full-on continuation of some new set of stories. But anyway, I will see you guys tomorrow for a reaction video to wrap up Destiny 2 cutscenes, as well as the final installment of the Batman Nightfall trilogy, covering Night's End. So look forward to that. But anyway, take care, and I'll see you all soon.